Alright, so that was kind of clutch, not gonna lie. I was doing really bad as Singed. You could all see that, not getting off that many ignites and all of that, but hey, I had fun. You can see my last defeat was as Singed, but I have been playing a variety of characters. Although this is completely a mix of Cassiopeia and Singed. I've been focusing on her since she is a lot of fun to play. I'll probably do a video on her some other time. But that was the last game I played. You can see the damage dealt and all of that. I ended up going 1-6-13, which is oddly very... well, not oddly, it's very non what my Singed scores are usually like. Usually it's like you're even in kills and deaths, and then you have an infinity amount of assists, or a lot of assists. The only time that didn't apply was this game, and the game that I lost where I went 7-18 and 20. But you can see here, I went 7-4-7, 6-4-12, etc. Very fun there. But let's go ahead and go over Singed, the Mad Chemist. Not going to say it with any sort of flair that time, as it is the post-game. So this is Singed, the Mad Chemist. You can see that that is Riot Singed, and all of that with the fancy shield and the orange poisony smoke. And you can see he's got average health. He doesn't have too much health unless you build health via his passive. And he's got average attack, you know, decentish attack damage. His ultimate empowers him with more attack and gives him some attack speed. I kind of want to see how DPS Singed would work out, just as far as how funny it would be, because it does give him attack speed and attack damage. 65% extra attack speed and 65 extra damage just sounds fun. Meanwhile, he does have strong spells, as yes, if you power up his poison, which I didn't do here. If you power up his poison, he'll do some 200 per poison tick, and it'll be like tick, 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 and you'll like kill somebody who's chasing you or just in the middle of a team fight, doing a lot of DPS that way. And he's medium-ish to use. He's not really easy to use. Like some people say, Annie is the easiest champion easiest champion to use in the game. And he's not that easy. It's not, you know, simple QWER. If you do go QWER, you're going to turn on your poison, you're going to put on fire, and you're going to fling, and then you're going to activate your ultimate. So maybe it's like RQWE, unless it's a medium difficulty. Plus you have to remember when to hit that Q again to turn it off, and all of that good stuff, as well as positioning, because this is a skill shot. This is technically a skill shot that kind of have to be a little bit outside of melee range, and you have to know when to use your Insanity Potion, which is pretty much when a team fight starts, clearing a minion wave with extremely low health, trying to escape with extremely low health, you know, in general. You could even activate it if you want to waste it on just running back to the front line with Insanity Potion to save a tower, because it does give you that move speed. So, we've already gone over this. He is a bruiser. He's not officially a tank. He has the tank tag, or he used to have the tank tag, but no longer. People will pick him and accept him as a tank, for the most part, unless, you know, you're a hardcore tanky person. You know, let's go ahead and go into his abilities. So you guys saw Poison Trail the entire time. That whole orange smoke thing that does damage, that's Poison Trail. Basically, they'll take ticks of poison over time, ticks being, you know, damage per second over time. Damage per second over time just somehow makes sense. Damage per second. I don't even remember what that is. It sounds kind of like acceleration, but who knows. But Poison Trail is, you know, he does damage over time via poison. He runs around, and this is his signature move. He runs around. Apparently I'm saying he runs around a lot. Stuck on a broken record. I just can't believe we won. That was extremely close. But he does run around and leave poison. You can kill people that way via people chasing him. You run around in a team fight. You don't generally melee attack someone unless it's a close quarters and like a jungle thingy. And so how do you make someone eat your poison? I mean, like you could see in the early laning phase, hey, I'm leaving poison everywhere. No one's going to step a foot in it, because Poppy is a melee champion, but notice how if they're directly in front of me, there's no poison coming out of there. It's coming out directly behind me. So you have to position yourself in such a way that they're going to be on the side of you or behind you to get hit by that poison in melee range, which does take a little bit of effort to do. So what you do in order to get them in range is you drop a Mega Adhesive. This has the highest AoE slow in the game, I believe, going up to something like 75% slow on that Mega Adhesive. So what you're going to want to do is, if you are getting harassed in the lane, you want to go ahead and do some counter harassment. In fact, I might even get Mega Adhesive at level 2 instead of level 3, level 4, just something to consider as something to do, as just throwing it down, AoE slowing them, trying to just catch them in that. You want to put it either right on top of them, or a little bit behind them. You want to predict on which way they're going to go unless they're not moving. If you're running away, you're going to want to put it in between you and the bad guys. It shouldn't slow you down too much throwing down a mega adhesive. It is an extremely powerful slow, so don't be afraid to throw down a slow, as unless it's a Yi, it's definitely going to help you escape in that sort of confrontation, unless they have, like, say, a blink ability, blink being like a flash or a short range teleport ability. So that's mega adhesive. Very useful for all of that, but what we're going to do is throw down the mega adhesive, run up to them. If you have fling them behind you, and then they're going to have to run through the slow again, and to eat your poison while they're at it, or just run past them if you don't have fling, if it's on cooldown or something, and just make them eat poison by running in front of them. Well, how are you going to run in front of them? Well, one, Masteries, or runes, giving you extra move speed, or boots of swiftness, giving you that extra move speed there with move 3, and other various methods. But mega adhesive, it's pretty simple. It's a AoE skill shot that you can throw anywhere within a fairly long range. I didn't show you guys exactly its range because I was smart casting it. Smart casting being just using a skill over what your mouse is hovering. Obviously you can't use ignite on the ground, but you can use ignite on minions or champions, for example. So you can use it on where it applies. Fling, you can use this to interrupt channeled ultimates. What it does is it targets enemy unit and flings them into the air behind Singed. By removing channeled ultimates or any stuff that requires, well, channeling, you're going to want to fling them. So if you're fighting up against a Nunu or a Katarina, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fling them as soon as they start their ultimate. What that's going to do is it's going to cancel it. For Nunu, if you cancel his ultimate early, the damage still does go through. For Katarina, it just stops all damage flat, but she will have been doing damage that entire time. So fling is pretty awesome for those champions. You can also use it on a Warwick or a Malzahar, channeling a suppression-based move. Very awesome that way. However, if you're fighting a team that doesn't really have channeled ultimates, what you're going to want to do instead is, well, be a tank, initiate. What that means is you're going to pop your Insanity Potion, which we're going to get to in a second, make you a little bit more speedier and tankier with the extra armor. And you're going to want to throw down your W to try to catch up to them, have your poison already activated. You're going to run up to the nearest thing that's not a tank. You don't want to fling their tank, because that's just going to initiate for them. You're going to want to fling the nearest thing that's not a tank behind you into enemy lines. They're going to be hit by your W slow, or they were hit by your W slow, and you caught up to them. And they're going to be eating your poison the entire time. You maybe even throw down Ignite if you want to do the Ignite business. And your team is just going to gobble them up. It's not as good as the Alistar stun / punt them into your team with Headbutt, but it does get the job done as far as initiating and making a 5v5 a 5v4, provided that you can live diving into all 5 of them, which leads into the whole passive ability of 25% of your mana turns into health, as that will help you build mana and health items that will make you that much stronger, like the Rod of Ages, like the Banshee's Veil, both of which make you more tanky, and the Rod of Ages giving you a little bit of extra ability power to give that poison fling a little bit of extra oomph. Your fling is going to be also your main nuke, as it does have a 1-to-1 ability power ratio. This means that if you have 400 AP and you fling somebody, it's going to do whatever the skill amount says, plus 400. It's that awesome. Meanwhile, going into his last skill, Insanity Potions, Singed does drink a potent brew of chemicals, granting him increased combat stats. So we already saw that in game. It gives him attack damage, it gives him move speed, it gives him health regeneration, it gives him mana regeneration, it gives him, I think, even ability power. It just gives him every stat you can think of. It gives it to him, and it's a set amount. So like it starts off at, I don't remember now, 30, 35 or so, and ends up at 65. And you'll get 30 extra damage, 30 extra attacks, 30% extra attack speed, 30 extra mana per second, etc. That's Insanity Potion. He becomes he just becomes super scary. Oddly enough, it doesn't give him magic resistance. I do not believe it gives him magic resistance. So what you'll see Singed characters do is they'll build magic resistance. That way when their Insanity Potion is up, that'll cover the armor side, and then their items will carry their magic resistance side, such as the Abyssal, which makes your poison stronger and makes you more tanky with magic resistance. The Banshee's Veil gives you magic resistance, etc. Those are the 2 core items. So that's Singed 4 skills, etc. Poison Trail, they say it's very effective at farming and harassing. Obviously, yes, if they're pushing the lane, you can always poison all the minions right before they get to your tower. Insanity Potion is useful for pushing towers. As you can see earlier when I tried backdooring that top tower of sorts, I think there was still a cannon rider there, but Misfortune was coming up. I popped my Insanity Potion to let me attack faster and harder at the same time, sort of like a one-man Sivir ultimate, to try and destroy that, except it gives me attack damage also. Meanwhile, it says flinging enemies into your tower can deal heavy amounts of damage to them. I did not do that this game. Something that you can do if you are playing a solo lane Singed is that if any of their team gets a little too aggressive, you can always just hit them with the W skill, so that way they'll be running a little bit slower. Pop your Insanity Potion because you're out leveling them, so they shouldn't have their ultimate yet if you have it, and then just fling them behind you into the tower, and they'll either have to run out of tower range. Even if they have minions there might only be a few minions left because you have been dropping your poison everywhere, but they're still going to be eating poison the entire way through. They're going to have to take tower shots, which you can kill people with. And overall, I think that is a very good tip. Playing against Singed, keep your distance to avoid being flung back into Singed allies. Agreed to an extent. Another thing that you can do when fighting Singed is get a Banshee's Veil. Kind of like Blitzcrank, but not quite. Blitzcrank, has that whole grab ability, so Banshee's Veil will help negate that. Well, the Banshee's Veil with Singed, the only thing that he can get rid of Banshee's Veil with is his fling. Poison Trail, taking damage from poison, does not remove it. Going through the AoE slow doesn't remove it. His Insanity Potion is self-inflicted. So if 2 or 3 of you have Banshee's Veils, he's not going to be flinging them. And Singed is the initiator with his fling / being a tank in general, unless you have a champion like Jarvan on your team, or another tanky DPS type character. So getting a Banshee's Veil is really great to avoid being initiated on and getting killed early. Meanwhile, they're saying Singed needs to run close to your team to be effective. Take advantage of this by using crowd control effects on him while attacking his allies. So basically, so he can't run around and poison you, stun him. I kind of disagree with this because the only thing he can do is poison, but I do agree that he is very tanky and he can do a lot of DPS with his poison, but at the same time it does take time to do that, so CC can be truly effective. I don't know. As far as who you use your crowd control on, I'd rather you guys crowd control the carries. Unless Singed is carrying their team, don't use it on Singed. It's kind of a waste because he's the tank, so if you crowd control him, their carries will come in and destroy your face. Meanwhile, be careful when chasing Singed. He's very difficult to bring down via Insanity Potion, giving him armor, health regen, mana regen, and move speed, so he'll be really hard to catch. And he can leave his poison trail to damage you in your pursuit. So, very good stuff there. His story is there if you ever want to read it. And he does have many skins, one of them being a surfer one, which is pretty awesome. He has like a water bottle for his poison bottle. And so that's Singed in a nutshell. I think I talked a little bit too much on those skills there. I do apologize for that. I didn't really talk too much about the match in general because it's still fresh in my mind, so I didn't quite review it as this is immediately after the postgame. But let's go ahead and go into Masteries. So, since I didn't know what I was going to play, I ended up going 9-0-21. I didn't get the 9 needed for max Strength of Spirit. I just went 9-0-21. What this does is it gives me cooldown reduction, which is really awesome on champions like Cassiopeia and Ryze, which I was hoping to play, or Maokai, or just anyone in general, as the Masteries will give me 9% cooldown reduction. Shortened duration of summoner ability is really awesome. As you can see, I was using teleport pretty much right after it came off of cooldown, which you can see I did get spatial accuracy instead of 1 point in good hands to reduce the delay on my teleport spell by half a second and decrease its cooldown by 5 seconds. Being someone who does buy wards with my spare money, even though you didn't quite see it too much this game, teleporting to ward locations is something that you will have much fun with. One time I went and I found a Vladimir and a Kog'Maw trying to recall, and the Kog'Maw had a oracles and killed a ward that I had in the bush that they were recalling in. Well, I had a ward at the bush at Baron that was just outside of it, so I just teleported there, ran in with my poison, flung them with my Insanity Potion up, and we got 2 easy kills after a team fight via that. Only get 1% extra move speed. A lot of people would rather max quickness over, say, getting a point in greed or even getting intelligence, because max quickness is just something that's fun. I personally am not too much of a fan of move speed quints. I find boots of swiftness are just fine, but that's just a preference, just something to be aware of. I go ahead and get expanded mind because he is a mana person, so having 5% more mana, and remember, a quarter of your mana turns into HP, that kind of is something that you really need with him, or anyone you want to build Archangel's Staff with. Awareness, another fun skill, just because, or skill, Mastery that just gives you 5% more XP, lets you level up fast. I think I want to actually see if anyone has any statistics somewhere on exactly how many champions run max awareness, because awareness is something that is very commonly carried by champions, and it is a must-have if you are a jungler. Meditation, pretty easy to explain here. 3 mana regeneration per 5 is just something that is needed. Greed, again, I've talked about greed in the Maokai video, so you can go watch that if you wonder why greed. Just gives you that extra gold. Magic penetration, this makes pretty easy sense. Fling and your poison spell penetration is just pretty awesome. Ability power per level is going to empower your fling and your poison. Cooldown reduction is fun, although not necessarily too needed on Singed, unless you want to reduce the duration of his insanity potion maybe, and if you want to spam his W, I don't know. Cooldown reduction is okay on Singed. I don't think it's something that you need to necessarily worry about. I did get deadliness because I wasn't jungling or carrying exhaust. I could have carried exhaust, which, by the way, let's go ahead and talk briefly about summoner spells. So Ghost is pretty cool. It'll help you catch people if you take Ghost and Insanity Potion. Ignite I carried to help try to finish people off and or reduce healing, as I have been running into more heal supporty characters. Clarity is fun, as you saw early game. That kind of hurt me, not having mana a little bit, but not too terribly. Whenever my mana got low, I would just recall and teleport right back. I might lose a little bit of XP, but the advantage of being in a duo lane is you don't quite have to worry about that. I also like teleport because it covers both your health and your mana if you are getting harassed. If you want to go ahead and just punch each other in the face a whole bunch of times, and that one person goes down to 3 bars and you go down to 3 bars, you might go, well, their range, they might be able to kill me. Well, I'll just recall, teleport back, come out of a bush, and beat them up in the face, and maybe kill them, because that's what you want to do. Teleport is just fun for shenanigans in general, as you can teleport to a lane that has a bunch of minions on that they're ignoring because they're trying to team fight you and you just spawned, and so looks like you guys are winning the team fight, or you might be able to hold either way, teleport up and backdoor, or do other stuff like that. Exhaust is something that you can also do. As you saw, I was having a real hard time landing my flings, and so Alistar on their team was initiating a lot better, or Jarvan was initiating better, so carrying an exhaust, which you should get improved exhaust if you do, is something that's fun. Also, exhaust, if you get improved exhaust, will lower their magic resist and armor, I believe, for a short duration. So that'll empower your poison while they are exhausted. Smite, I've heard Singed is a really bad jungler. I haven't tried yet. Cleanse is always fun because you are running up in their faces and trying to fling them. So if you get stunned trying to run up and fling them, that's kind of an issue. You can carry Cleanse. I haven't really been carrying Cleanse recently. If I ever find the need for that, I just build a Quicksilver Sash, which gives you a lot of magic resistance and builds straight out of a Negatron Cloak while giving you that Cleanse active. But you do have to remember to activate it. Fortify is a utility skill, up to you. Clairvoyance is up to you. Rally, a lot of people don't like. I don't really find the point in giving yourself extra attack damage. Ignite, I've talked about, to help finish off people. Flash, to teleport into position to fling better, to get away, to go over walls. It's just pretty fun in general. I think it's kind of funny personally how you can fling people over small walls, but that's just me. Heal, you are a tank, so you might want to bait them as you are a tank, but they're like, no, don't attack the tank usually. Maybe they're being good about that, but somehow throughout the last team fight, you lived as a tank, which is kind of a bad sign, but you're still kind of low. And, this is still early-ish game for the sake of being hypothetical, or the laning phase. You can bait people into diving you and then pop heal. That's the main use of it. Late game, it becomes more of a, hey, everyone's taken a little bit of AoE damage from poking. Let's pop the heal and try to heal as many people in that little range as possible. Do remember, though, that if you have multiple people carrying heal, there's a debuff on all people that got the first summoner heal that lowers the received healing from another summoner heal by half. Revive, entirely up to you. I've seen some people die and then come out with Insanity Potion and the move speed with Revive on them, and they go out and they have a blast. If they're carrying Strength of Singed, what you're going to be carrying, trying to click on Masteries, sorry about that, they're going to be carrying Preservation in this case, which is going to give them 400 extra max health, and that is just going to help them be a little bit more tanky on that quick run back from the fight. I'm not too certain about Revive. I've carried it sometimes, but not too much. And I think that covers all of the abilities for summoner spells. Going to go ahead and go over to runes. This isn't a complete rune page, but it does show exactly what I was carrying. I'm making a mana set because why so serious? I mean, why not? So it's mana per level quints, 75.06 at champion level 18. So you can see that I've got 276 mana at level 18. Going to go ahead and pop open a calculator. And let's go ahead and do that, divided by 4. And you can see that at level 18 I'm going to get 56.25. So I get about the worth of 2 HP quints at level 18, as well as giving me more mana in general, which is going to help me out through the laning phase and just overall. What I'm hoping to do eventually is make all of these mana per level glyphs, and maybe if I get really insane, as this is going to be for more than Singed, it's going to be for Rise, who loves mana, and maybe Blitzcrank, make yellow mana per level and red mana per level, as that would give me some, let's see, 70 extra damage at level 18 on Rise, his Q, and like 35 more on his W, as well as, giving him a bunch more extra mana at 18. And per level passes flat at level 6. I do still have magic resist glyphs on here, as well as one cooldown reduction glyph. This is just for mana casters in general, which means I'm going to be keeping the spell pin, I'm going to be keeping the mana regen per level, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I am a mana user, so that means that mana regen per level is kind of needed, unless you're conservative with your spells, which I can be, but I wasn't this game, because Singed Poison is something that you have to keep on for a good long time. It's kind of hard to be conservative with it. As you could see, I wasn't building any mana regeneration items, so having mana regeneration per level seals plus utility mastery helps a lot. Magic penetration, just making poison and fling that much more powerful. Magic resist, I am a tank. I am covered on armor by my ultimate. Magic resist is always fun, and I've already explained mana. So that explains runes, that explains spells, that explains masteries. We've talked about Singed. We can go briefly back over on the match. I did go ahead and start with... what did I start with? I did start with a Adorned Shield first. Some Singed I find have preferred to go ahead and start with a Boost Speed, and then just go, with the whole Fling Poison thing, and then get a point in their W at 4, so that way, they'll be able to catch better instead of using a W with just the extra move speed via Masteries, Quints, and an early Boost Speed. 3 health potions will help keep your health up and be tanky. So that's kind of viable opening, and of course the Sapphire Crystal, as it does give you 1/4 of that, remember, it turns into health, so 200 divided by 4 gives you like 50 more health and 200 mana. That's pretty awesome to have on a Sapphire Crystal, and then you can take a mana potion and a health potion, or a combination of the two. So that's about it. That's the end of this post game, and I'll try to upload this post haste. This is Observious, and I hope you guys enjoyed the post game. Signing out.